on this episode of the Clip Service Podcast, episode 78, question mark. Rolla and I are going to break down the last four games, two of which were some of the most frustrating games I've seen so far this season. But also, we can't be super surprised because it was against the New Orleans Pelicans, and we all know how that goes. Going to talk a little bit about those four games, some of the games coming up, and then Rolla and I are going to do a segment on what's going on around the league because there is quite a bit going on around the league. Some of it, we're going to touch a little bit on the draft, touch a little bit on the the old heads that are still the final few remaining in the league, and is it their time, or will their time be coming to an end shortly? So got a lot to cover. Get right into it. So without further ado, let's make it happen.
What is up, Clipper Nation? And welcome to the Clip Service Podcast. Please make sure to find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Deezer, Amazon Music, and YouTube. And you can also find us on Twitter and Instagram at Clip Service Pod. I'm Rolla, and this is my co-host, Nick. Let's get right into it.
What's going on, guys? Let's get right into it indeed. Let's just jump right into the recaps. And the first two games are ones that I would be happy to forget ever happened. A 124-109 loss to the New Orleans Pelicans and a 105-99 loss against the New Orleans Pelicans. I believe Kawhi sat in the second one, so, I mean, this is one that the Clippers should probably still win, given the fact that the Pelicans are struggling to win against anybody these days. But we know, Clipper fans know how this goes, and it's been going on. Honestly, it kind of dates all the way back to Lob City, especially the first game where the Pelicans blew out the Clippers. Kawhi Leonard was available in this one. John Collins as well. Kawhi Leonard led the way with 25. But unfortunately, the Clippers didn't even come close. Like I said, 124-109. The thing that I think for both of these games, I'll probably have the same thing that I disliked. And it's just the fact that regardless of who's on the floor, regardless of what iteration of either team is on the floor, the Pelicans seem to just magically, and the thing that pisses me off is there are times when it's like, I know that the Clippers are trying, but how are you going to game plan for Trey Murphy hitting like logo threes and Herb Jones hitting well above his season average, and DeJounte Murray having a vintage DeJounte Murray game, Sadiq Bey going 5 for 10 from the 3-point line? So granted, yes, I think that the Clippers should have found a way to win this one, but like I guess for this one, the thing that I disliked was just the Pelicans seemed to have a magnet ball game. As they typically do against the Clippers. The one thing that I did like was the contributions off the bench. Obviously, there weren't a ton, but the ones that we did get were 13 from Jordan Miller in 23 minutes, 6 for 10, really efficient from the field, and Isaiah Jackson, 10 points, 5 for 7 from the field, 6 rebounds, a block and a steal. I've really liked what Ijax has provided for the Clippers. Obviously, the Clippers have needed him in Giannik's absence. And Isaiah Jackson was always someone that I really wanted the Clippers to get. I think that he was being underutilized with the Pacers, and I just kind of like that archetype, like that really high motor, relentless like rebounder, and he doesn't seem to run out of energy, and he just kind of likes to finish through contact. Really good game from Isaiah Jackson. I know, obviously, modest 10 points, but in 19 minutes, he was providing a lot of energy for the Clippers when they needed it at times. So I guess that's the thing that I liked the most was the contributions from him and from Jordan Miller off the bench. Really, did you have anything that you want to touch on in this shit show of a game?
Yeah, I just don't think that the Clippers are trying hard enough, dude. I mean, when you look at the box, and I haven't looked at the box score until now, But when you look at the box score, yes, Kawhi had 25 points. Yes, he had an efficient game. But for him to be putting up the same amount of field goals as Brook Lopez at 12 field goals for the game, I'm sorry, that's not going to get it done, dude. Like, he's got to put up more shots. And I think the issue with the Pelicans and us is for some reason we just don't have that passion to beat them the way they do to beat us. And it's usually because I feel like they're most of the time, and I can't really remember the last time they were a pretty good team, but most of the time they're at the bottom half of the league, and we just don't come out with that same energy, that same passion, and we lose these games. I mean, going all the way back to, what was it, like 2022, where Brandon Ingram was torching us in the play-in games, was torching us in regular season. Like Zion would torch us every once in a while, and it's just like, I think that, like, when it comes down to it, they just want to beat us more than we want to beat them. And I think the box score shows that when you look at, our star players not really putting up the amount of shots for their usual game that they would put up against a Golden State or put up against the Lakers or whatever. And it's, I get it. Like, it's a long season. I get it. Like, they're not going to be able to have that same energy every single game. But I mean, that's the reason why we're losing these games to the Pelicans. It's a big game. They're playing a good team, so they're going to rise up for the competition. We can't, fall towards the Pelicans and play at their level. Otherwise, we're going to lose, which we did by, I would say that first game we basically got blew out. I mean, second game was a lot closer without Kawhi, but I don't know. I just feel like the excuse of just giving it to the Pelicans, that the Pelicans beat us, isn't the right mentality to have. I mean, it's not like we haven't beat them in recent years. It's just like, I just don't think that we won it when it comes down to it.
Yeah, I mean, no, for sure. Like, and I'm mostly joking. Really, the only thing that like stands out to me in that regard, where it's just like for some reason the Pelicans just always find a way to beat us, is there are times, like I said, there are times when guys that are shooting, like for example, there was a game that I was in attendance at. I think it was back when the Clippers played at Staples, where Jonas Valanciunas, when he was with the Pelicans, was shooting 25% from three that whole season. Checks in the game and basically by himself puts the Clippers away in the first quarter. I think he hit like 5 threes in a row or something like that. And it's just like shit like that. And he doesn't play for the Pelicans anymore. So it's like literally like people come to the Pelicans for a couple years, kick the shit out of the Clippers when they meet up with the Clippers, and then they go to a different team. It's wild. But I do agree, like to your point, it's like you gotta play with the sense of passion when you're playing a team who currently sits at a record of 25-48. And they're, like they're clearly, they've given up on the season, or they're tanking or whatever, and it's like you got to find a way to win that. And had an opportunity to have a bounce back the following game. Obviously, it was the second night of a back-to-back. The Clippers still didn't find a way to get it done. Unfortunately, Kawhi Leonard sat in this one. He was rehabbing his, I think it was the same injury, that ankle injury that he suffered prior against the Sacramento Kings. Yep. And weirdly enough, this one was a lot closer. Derek Jones led the way in this one with 22 points. But unfortunately, as he tends to do, Trey Murphy with 27 points against the Clippers in this one, 5 for 11 from the field. Zion Williamson had 15, 20 from Sadiq Bey. Like, again, magnet ball game from a lot of guys. Herb Jones had 3 threes. He was literally, shooting, a non-existent clip from the field from 3, right, a couple weeks ago. And so it's just frustrating. The Clippers could not find a way to get this one done. I think the thing that I'm going to start with what I liked in this one. And it was very interesting to see. He played a little bit in the game prior, but played even more in this one. But Bogdan Bogdanovic was kind of reinserted into the rotation in this one. Played 27 minutes and had 16. Had a couple of nice shots off the dribble. Looked pretty good. And, Bogey, obviously, his Clipper tenure hasn't been anything close to what people thought it would be, including myself. Mm-hmm. But one thing that we can kind of expect from Bogey when he's playing at his best is he's a guy that can create for himself, and a guy that can create for others. And that's part of the reason why the Clippers traded Terrence Mann for him is he was a guy that could create for himself and seek out shots for himself. And in games like this, you saw that. Hitting a couple step back threes, I think he was talking to a fan courtside that was talking trash at him. So that was cool to see. I like Bogey. Obviously, it hasn't panned out so far, but I like the dude, and I think that he's a competitor, and he looked really good in this one. As far as what I didn't like, I touched on it before, but Trey Murphy hit some absurd shots, and some of them were way too wide open. And that's more to your point, Rolla, just like the attention to detail and like having the passion to want to like cover guys that are really good shooters and make sure that we don't leave anybody open. And that was just infuriating.
Right.
Rolla, what about you?
Right. Yeah. So I guess to touch on my last thing, I just remembered that we also lost to the Kings recently, and it's like the same thing. Like the Kings have nothing to play for other than just beating every team
bragging
that comes
rights
in front of them. They're like trying their hardest, and the fact that we are losing to these types of teams is pretty infuriating, and it also feels a little concerning because, I mean, fingers crossed, we're going to be hopefully most likely going into the play-in tournament. And if we're playing to our competition, like, for example, if we lose to the Suns in that first round, we could very easily lose to a team that is below us in the table, So it's a little concerning to see us losing to these types of teams, where the Pelicans are the 11th seed, I believe. So they're just outside. So this is the level of team we would be playing in the second round of the play-in. So it's a little discouraging to see us lose back-to-back games. It's not like, to say that it was the second night of a back-to-back, like they also played a back-to-back. It's, you know what I mean? So you can't even use the excuse that we were tired. You know what I mean? So it's just a straight up loss. It's just straight up that for 2 games back-to-back, we played the same team, the same coach, the same coaching scheme, and we still lost again to a team worse than us. It's pretty discouraging. But one thing I did like about this game, at least for me, was Chris Dunn's effort on defense.
Yeah. He's always
although like you mentioned, what was it? Herb Jones hit a couple threes. I think that Chris Dunn has been doing a pretty fantastic job at kind of leading our defensive unit.
Totally.
In this game, the game was a lot closer because I think that we did lock in a little bit more on defense. I do think that we lost this game at the free throw line 1 and 2. Jordan Miller had a terrible game, at least according to the box score. 7 of 11 from the free throw line and 0 of 3 from 3, 2 of 8 from the field. I mean, we shot 59% from the free throw line out of 32 total free throws. I think we hit a couple more of those free throws, we win the game, right? So
we missed 13.
I
think in total. So
exactly.
We would have won the game.
Right. So I think that's something that we need to shore up before the playoffs. Because, if we do get that 8th seed, if we do get that 7th seed, missing free throws is not going to be the OKC Thunder, bro. That's going to be, if we're missing if we're shooting at a 59% clip from the line, we're getting swept, and that's a guarantee. So, I think that, at this last stretch of games, we really have to lock in on the little things, which I think is why we lost.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I had forgotten about that fact, from the free throw line. If we had hit even marginally more free throws than we did in this game, we would have either tied or won. Yeah. And that was really, really unfortunate. And especially because after this game, the Clippers record was the 500 ball thing was very short lived at this point. After this game, the Clippers record was 34-36. And when you are looking at the standings, the Clippers are a half game up from Portland for the ninth seed. And 2 games ahead of Golden State for the 10th seed. And, so I think that the Clippers need to do everything they can to at least maintain the 7-8 and just give themselves the opportunity to, if they win one game, match up against likely San Antonio Spurs in that first round.
Right.
I don't really like the Clippers' chances of having to play 2 playing games and winning both of them, right?
Right.
Winning, winning
One
both
of
of them.
them.
Well, if
Oh, you
I'm
mean if
thinking
we
if they
fell
went
to
down to the 9-10, yeah.
9-10.
So
Right.
the Clippers need to handle business and make sure that they take care of these teams because they do have an easy schedule coming up and things are razor thin in the play-in situation. So hopefully the Clippers can get it together. I will say they've been at a bit of a disadvantage with the injuries. Obviously, Kawhi Leonard is still kind of rehabbing his ankle thing. I don't think it's serious, but I think it's more so just managing the pain so that
Progression.
he doesn't go into the postseason, hurt. And then obviously with Ben Matherin being out, hopefully he should be back soon. Um, Darius Garland is back and he looks really good. We'll touch on that in a
Dude.
second. But I mean, obviously missing Ben Matherin and Kawhi Leonard is huge, and you already don't have Yannick. The Clippers going to need to take advantage of games like this. But um, although it did take an overtime, it did take a fifth quarter. The Clippers did handle business against the Dallas Mavericks in the following game, 138 to 131. And speaking of Darius Garland, I'm just going to jump right into that. The biggest thing I liked in this one was obviously Kawhi Leonard with 34 looked great, 12 for 22 from the field, was really like the leader on the floor. But Darius Garland, man, 41 points, 15 for 24 from the field, 8 for 12 from three. And the thing that I like about this that stands out to me the most, obviously, is the 41 points. But 12 3-point attempts for Darius Garland is great because, I mean, that's significantly more than he was taking in Cleveland. I think that, when he's shooting those threes off the dribble and he's hitting them, he's such a potent weapon. And getting 12 of those up is really really nice. I mean, I think he was averaging 6 attempts with the Cavaliers. That's just too low for a guy that can get going like that from three and can take guys off the dribble. He chipped in 11 assists. Just a really really phenomenal game from Darius Garland in this one. And Kawhi and Darius got some help in this one too, which was great. Derek Jones with 15. Brooke Lopez didn't look like dog shit in this one. 10 points. 10 points from Isaiah Jackson in 15 minutes. Again, Isaiah Jackson has really been doing the most in terms of maximizing his minutes.
Right.
And that's just what he does. He doesn't need a lot of time to do damage, and he makes it happen. 2 steals and 2 blocks. Oh wait, no, that was Chris Dunn. But he did. Isaiah Jackson did add a block. Like there's great stuff from him. Jordan Miller with 10 points. Like really good stuff across the board from the Clippers to handle business in this one. What I didn't like was the fact that it did have to go to overtime. It was kind of like a heavyweight like slugfest in that fourth quarter. But the Clippers were able to handle business in that overtime. Derek Jones and Kawhi really put the hammer down like in the first minute of that overtime period, and the rest was history. Roll, what did you
Right.
like in this one?
So basically, I have the same thing as you. Darius Garland, man, he's been one of my favorite players for a long time. Just because I think that his game is so unique. I don't think there's another player in the league genuinely who is as quick as he is. Straight up, like when he is at 100% health.
I don't know. De'Aaron Fox is still
No, I
pretty
think Darius
quick.
Garland is. I think that first step, Darius Garland, and I think also because he's shorter, he's smaller, he is just like legitimately quicker. And I'm not talking about like top speed. I'm talking about just like shiftier and quicker
Sure,
on the.
he's
Like, on the
incredibly
court.
shifty.
Yeah, and so I think I mean, he's scoring 41 points, and I think he's not even at 100% yet. I think when Matherin comes back and Garland, and when the team is finally there, is like I am really excited to see this dude like explode. Because because I think his potential is through the roof. I mean, the dude had 41 points and 11 assists. If you're asking for a James Harden replacement, you got it. Like
I was
those
just
those
about to
Harden
say.
numbers. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, one steal and one block. I mean, what more could you ask for from your starting point guard? Like props to Darius Garland. Great game. I'm really excited to see what the future holds with him with the Clippers jersey. And then, yeah, what I didn't like about this game, again, this is a team that's outside of the playoffs and we're struggling against. Well, I wouldn't say struggling, but I mean that we had to go to overtime. So it's a little bit disappointing to see. I think when you have, Darius Garland exploding and you have Kawhi exploding, I think like that you should be able to win that game pretty handedly. But the Dallas Mavericks, props to them. They're not giving up on the season. They're still trying to win games, and I think that's good for them. But for us, it's as a fan watching, it's kind of annoying to have to go to these lengths to beat teams that aren't even going to be playing after the regular season.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And I love what you mentioned about, because I was going to say the same thing too, is the cool thing with Darius Garland, obviously you get that scoring threat, but you didn't lose a whole lot in terms of a floor general in, when you lost James Harden. Like, he still does, obviously not maybe as masterfully as James Harden, but he still does the same things that James Harden did in terms of ball
Right.
security. Obviously, he doesn't take care of the ball nearly as well as James Harden, but having that sure, that sure option as a ball handler and playmaker, table setter. Like it's he's been great, and I agree with you. I echo that statement. Like I'm really really excited to see what we have in store with Darius
Mm-hmm.
Garland. But yeah, let's jump right into the next game, which was an absolute blowout. Obviously, the score 96 to 129, Clippers win against the Bucks. That's obviously an egregious win margin, but I believe the game was like it was like a 40-point game at one point. So really good work from the Clippers to really take advantage of a team that's struggling mightily. We'll talk a little bit more about Giannis when we get into what's going on, but obviously the Bucks were without Giannis. Were without a lot of their guys actually, and so the Clippers were able to take advantage of this one and take advantage early on. The first quarter was pretty close, but that second quarter, the Clippers scored 43 points to the Bucks 23. So that was kind of where the Clippers kind of put their foot down and continued that on throughout the rest of the game. So
Mm-hmm.
really good stuff. What I liked just kind of the box score, to be honest. But if I was to
Yep.
pick a specific performance, to be honest, Kobe Sanders, 19 points off the bench. Obviously, Kawhi Leonard with 28, he was great. 19 from Brook Lopez. But the thing that I really liked was Kobe Sanders kind of getting his swagger back coming off the bench. In 26 minutes, 19 points, 8 for 10 from the field, 3 for 5 from the 3-point line, a steal and a block, 4 assists. Like really good stuff from Kobe Sanders, and we've seen that throughout the season when he's been called upon that he can really rise to the occasion, and he really did that in this one. Just provided that spark off the bench, looked really confident off the dribble, and was locking guys up on defense too. So that was really cool to see. What I didn't like was the fact that the Clippers again missed John Collins to another. I think it was either a knee or an ankle thing that he took against the Mavericks.
Mm-hmm.
John Collins, John Collins, and because John Collins has been a huge part of the Clippers' success this season. And John Collins and Derek Jones just need to go out there and bubble wrap at this point because it seems like right when those dudes come back from an injury, they get hit with another completely different injury.
Yep.
And, that's the Bouncer Bros, dude. Like they are a huge part of the Clippers' vertical spacing, and they're two really really important lob threats for the Clippers. Can hit their threes. They're looking more like the Bruise Brothers now. I mean, with how many different injuries that they're taking. So hopefully those two can stay healthy because the Clippers are really, really going to need them going into the postseason. So hopefully whatever John Collins is dealing with isn't particularly significant. But yeah, hopefully he gets well soon.
So one thing about John Collins is when we first traded for him, and you can go back to the episode where we discussed this. But my concern with John Collins was his was the fact that he is so injury prone. Like I had a feeling this would happen. He was on the Jazz. What was it last year? And that dude could not stay on the court. And I think Nick, you had mentioned that maybe it was because the Jazz were tanking. But I mean, from the injuries that I saw, they seem to be just like him being injury prone. And I feel like that's how it's been for his entire career. So him being injury prone on the Clippers isn't really that surprising to me. I think that the medical staff, I think that the organization knew that when they were trading for him. So I don't think this is surprising for anyone. But, I think what sucks is like we also have another star on our team that is injury prone in Kawhi Leonard. So I feel like it's such a huge gamble, man. Like, I think it was such a huge gamble, and I think now we're seeing the dividends, for less of a better term, of his injury proneness. So, all we can do is kind of just hope that he can come back soon and come back in time for big games. But I would say the one thing I liked about this game was the fact that it was blowout. It seemed like everyone was on their P's and Q's. We were 18 of 18 from the free throw line, which is, like I said, we would have won that game against the Pelicans had we hit our free throws. And like in this game, you see that we are capable of hitting literally every single free throw. So it's a little frustrating when you watch a game like this and we're doing the little things, and then you go to a game like the Pelicans, who are probably the same level of team as the Bucks, and are, missing free throws, and we look a little bit unorganized, and it's just a little frustrating to see. Anyways, that would probably be the number one thing that I really liked about this game. But what I didn't like about this game. Yeah, I don't think I think I liked everything about this game, man. It was a blowout.
Yeah, there's not much to. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's not much else you could ask for in a game like this.
Yeah, I completely agree. And like we both have said ad nauseum, it's just that we're at the point of the season where these are games that the Clippers need to win. Taking care of business, especially at home. I think protecting that home court advantage and, getting the crowd involved, allowing the Clippers to allowing themselves to put teams away early is just super important. I mean, I don't think a single starter played in that fourth quarter, or most of it at least. And that's incredibly important, especially when you factor in, like we've touched on, the injuries, to guys like John Collins, where I understand what you mean about the injury proneness with John Collins, but this season it seems like it's been like a bunch of random weird freak accidents, like 2 different head and neck injuries. Like,
bro, that's how it was last year, bro. I'm telling you, that's actually how it was.
Yeah,
he would just get like a thigh bruise or like it would just be random shit that they would just put him on on the list, and like that was that.
Yeah,
I definitely mentioned that, and I think you would ask me like if I was happy about the trade, and I was like, I mean, I'm just hoping he's there when it really counts,
totally. But I mean, like more to the point, the starters were able to rest and prevent any chance of injuries, to our important players and stuff. And so a game like this, after losing back to back games against the Pelicans, it was much needed. So the Clippers ended up splitting the 4-game stretch against teams that they probably should have swept, all of them. But regardless, I think I'm okay with the 2-2 record as long as the Clippers build on what they maybe created against that Mavericks and the Bucks game. But guys, we're gonna take a quick break, and then we'll be right back with what's going on to wrap up this episode. All right, guys, we are back, and we're going to hop right into what's going on after we talked about those 4 games to recap. I wanted to start, while we're on the topic of the Bucks, I wanted to start and talk about, Roland and I mentioned tanking as a topic of discussion, league-wide in one of the episodes, the last couple episodes. The beat keeps going on, and it's, and this time it's the Bucks being at the center of the controversy. So basically, Giannis is, I don't know if he came out with it or where it was reported, but Giannis is allegedly, okay to play. He's healthy. He's feeling good,
Mm-hmm.
and the Bucks are kind of deciding whether or not they want to shut him down for the season. I mean, obviously the Bucks record is pretty bad. They currently sit outside of the play-in conversation at 11th. They are almost 10 games back of the 10th seed, so I don't think that they're going to have any chance of making it into the play-in.
No.
Um, but obviously, uh, contradicting statements from both Giannis and his team and the Bucks organization. And what makes it interesting is the Players Association is actually chiming in, and they were basically calling the Milwaukee Bucks out for tanking, saying that it's damaging the NBA's integrity by wanting to shut down Giannis for the rest of the season. I think it's very interesting that now we're getting kind of like another party chiming in and talking about the tanking. Obviously, as Rolla and I said before, it's a big point of contention around the league. Rolla, did you have any like opinions about this whole situation with Giannis, and like what would you do, for example, if you were the Milwaukee Bucks? Would you let him play? If he is indeed healthy, would you shut him down because there's not really any point? Like, where would you stand with that?
Um, well, if I were the Milwaukee Bucks, I probably would shut him down. And that's assuming that he is going to play for the Milwaukee Bucks for the foreseeable future.
See, I don't think he is.
Well, I mean, you can't have that mentality if you're the Milwaukee Bucks. I think for them, it's like the season is lost. Why would they put their star player, their most precious asset, in harm's way where he could potentially get even more injured and the season's already done? So it would be like an injury. It would be a loss for no reason. Where instead of that, they can lose games and increase their chances of getting a higher pick. So, I mean, if I'm the Milwaukee Bucks, I'm not playing him. If I'm let's say I'm the Milwaukee Bucks and I actually give a fuck about the fans, I would play him because the fans are coming to the games, are supporting the franchise, are supporting the team, to see their favorite player. And if their favorite player is healthy and can't play because they're just not allowing him to, I don't think that's fair on the fans. So, I see both sides. Unfortunately, I think there is a very clear wrong mentality, and that is the mentality of the franchise and kind of covering their asses and kind of like saving their asset for the future. But I don't really know, like what else, like how they can prove, or like how the Players Association or the NBA can even prove that, the Bucks have to play him, or dude. Sorry,
It's all right. Take a second. Take a second. Come on, baby.
I don't even know how the NBA could even like prove that he is healthy or that he can play, because the Bucks could just deny everything. So
yeah, I mean, it really just depends on
much
if he has his own medical stuff. And like, I just wanted to piggyback on that real quick, Rolla. Like, so the second part of that is, and you kind of already touched on it, whereas you were saying that if you were the Bucks organization, you would hold him out because, you see him as an asset to save him for the future. Do you think that this means the Bucks holding him out or wanting to hold him out, allegedly, that this means that they're going to be aggressively trying to trade him in this offseason, seeing him as not necessarily an asset for the future, but a trade asset to build for the future in terms of what they get in return? Do you think that this has anything to do with that at all?
Maybe. I think that's an option for them. Either way.
Do you see Giannis staying with the Bucks in the future?
I don't know, dude.
Yeah.
He seems like a loyal guy. I mean, he won a championship with them. They've taken care of him, his brothers, like his family. But I don't know. Maybe if Giannis is trying to win now, and he maybe sees his window closing with Wembanyama, OKC, like those types of teams, like really taking that next step. Maybe he's trying to win as soon as possible before they really like take over the league, which I feel like OKC already has. But yeah, I don't know, dude. I really don't. I think he could try to hop on that like Damian Lillard type mentality of just staying with being loyal or whatever. But I mean, I don't think it'll benefit him, and I don't know if he cares enough to win another championship, or maybe he's just satisfied with that one. What about you?
Well, I just have one more thing to touch on. Do you think that this fall from grace from the Bucks has anything to do with Doc Rivers coming in and being the head coach?
Oh yeah, I mean, we knew this, dude. We knew this.
Because it seems like every time Doc goes anywhere, it's like they are good for a second and they look nice, and it's the same thing that happens with a lot of the Doc Rivers teams. It's like he comes and he really gets shit done, and then something happens, and players stop listening to the coaches and listening to the coaching staff. And do you think that this has anything to do with a Doc curse of any
It's
kind?
not a curse. It's not a curse if it's just his personality. Like, you know what I mean? It's just him, bro. Like, I think
Maybe it's just his voice. Maybe his voice, literally his raspy voice, just starts to grind to grind the gears of everybody in the locker room after a certain amount of a certain amount of time. Do you think that maybe it has anything to do with his raspy voice at all?
no, I don't think it's the raspy voice. I do think it's okay. Let me. I guess to break it down, if you have like a child, right, and you're a parent, most parents are going to be, like stern. At some points, they'll be strict, but they're going to make sure that the kid knows that they're the parent and the kid's the kid, right? Mm. I don't think, like, for example, I don't think Doc Rivers is that for the Bucks. I think that the Bucks, or like the teams he coaches, like maybe at first he comes off as like, I'm the coach, you guys are the players, you'll listen to me. But at some point it gets to a point where the players just don't respect him as a coach, and then like he loses the locker room, and then the team just goes to fucking trash, bro. I bet you there are players that are late to practice. There are players that don't watch film or whatever because he doesn't have that grit, that strictness. Like, I mean, they applaud JJ Redick for having that, and you see what the Lakers are doing now. So yeah, I don't know, dude. Doc Rivers is. I think he needs to be done with coaching, bro. I mean,
I thought he was, after his stint with Philly, I thought that he was going back to the broadcasting booth. And then there was that whole situation where, what the fuck was the guy's name before Doc? Coach Griffin. He was like let go, and then they decided to bring Doc in. It was just a weird situation. But yeah, obviously I don't think this is necessarily all on Doc. I think it's a lot deeper of an issue, but it's just very interesting that it seems like the last couple teams that Doc's coached came to a messy end, and he was still given another chance. So while we're on the topic though of some of the league's like top guys or top names, I wanted to talk a little bit about another guy, Steph Curry. We touched on the Warriors being a part of that 9-10 spot. I believe they're currently sitting at 10.
Yep.
At 23 games back. Steph has missed the last, I think, month with like some sort of knee thing. Allegedly, he hasn't scrimmaged or anything like that, so he hasn't gone through contact. Yada yada. He's not looking like he's going to be back necessarily anytime soon, or there's no clear timetable of when he's going to come back. And the Warriors really, really need him. Obviously Moses Moody, who has been playing, has had a heavy usage for the Warriors. With the injuries that they have. Moses Moody just tore his what did he tear, his patellar tendon or something like that. In his knee, which is awful. Prayers up to Moses Moody. But the Warriors need Steph back in the worst way possible, and it doesn't look like there's any timetable for him as of right now. So I don't know, Rolo. I guess my question for you would be like, how much do you think Steph has left in the tank? Because I think a lot of these older guys in the league, we're starting to see a trend downward with a lot of like the older, the old heads in the league. And I don't know, what's your opinion on Steph and maybe like the bigger picture of like, the LeBrons or the KDs or whatever?
Yeah, I think they're done, dude. And I hate to say it, but I think their era is done. I think when you look at a team, and I feel like I hype them up so much, but they really are legit. I think when you see a team like OKC, like any team led by KD, LeBron, Steph, are just not going to be able to compete, dude. It's unfortunate that the Lakers have seemingly moved on to basically another superstar in Luka, which is unfortunate to see. I mean, he dropped 60 points the other day, so
He's looking good.
he is looking good. But I think that like LeBron is not capable of making the impact he used to. KD, we saw against who was that? Oh, it was against the Lakers. The Rockets lost back-to-back games against the Lakers where KD just was completely shut down by the Lakers. Steph Curry, it feels like he's injured every single year at this point. And then when he's back, he doesn't really have that same impact. There's not as much, and when he does go off, he doesn't really have that help. Because they are paying him a lot. Draymond Green gets paid a lot. And, looking at Draymond Green, what does he even do on the court now? Like, I can't imagine he makes that. But, like, no, for real.
No, I mean, you got a fair point. Like,
I can't imagine he's that great on defense anymore. So, like, now
he's still like a connector for them. Like, no, I mean, like, I think he makes plays happen, but it's like you don't have as many weapons on the court, so it's like Draymond just looking for guys to pass to.
Exactly.
And he can't. And it's like, okay, let's hit pods. I guess let's pass it to pods, and hope that he can save the franchise.
I mean, you look at like, dude, you look at like Embiid, bro, like. When was the last time you heard anything about him, like legitimately, like where he's had a crazy game? I mean, he's like, I don't know. I just feel like that era of basketball, there's so many players that are just like.
Well, Embiid's so much younger than those guys. That's the sad thing with him.
No, he is. But I put like Embiid on the same wave as like a Paul George or I guess Kawhi, but Kawhi's been balling recently. But I put them all on like the same plane. Giannis is getting injured. It almost feels like every single year. I mean, his team hasn't done well in 3 years. And then you have these teams like OKC that are coming up, that are like the Spurs that are coming up, the Pacers before Halliburton got injured. You see these young teams that are coming up that look pretty fantastic, led by young players, and it just feels like it's over for these older guys. And they had a great time in the league, but I think it's time for them to pass the torch. That's just my mentality, and that's just what I've seen recently.
Do you think that Steph and LeBron are going to go on like a joint? Because I was thinking about this the other day. Do you think that, like, based on where their timelines are kind of adding up, do you think that they would go on like a joint farewell tour together, like maybe next year? Like Steph and LeBron are both declaring that. Well, dude, it's like their careers have like really mirrored each other's for not. I mean, obviously LeBron was earlier, and LeBron was goated right off the rip. But like for a large portion of their careers, they were kind of 1A, 1B. Like they were going at each other, and I don't know. I could see them like mutually deciding like, yo, we're gonna go off into the sunset together. And maybe hold hands. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't think so, dude. For some reason, and this might be a hot take, dude, I feel like LeBron's gonna retire after during the summer. I think.
Dude, I would be shocked. I would be shocked.
Really, dude, the way he was crying in Cleveland in that game in Cleveland, I feel like he was emotional because it was his last time, and maybe maybe his mentality is like, you know what? Like, I'm just going to keep this one, like, for once in my fucking life to myself and just, like, write it out like this is my last season. But also, how crazy would it be if, like, Steph, LeBron, and KD just said fuck it and just, like, all
called it in the offseason?
No, I'll join the same team. What if, like, KD and
LeBron, oh, my God, dude. That would be gross.
Dude.
That would be so...
Do you think it could be OKC in a 7-game series?
Fuck no, dude.
Let's say this current Warriors team, let's say Jimmy buckets out for the season. Steph, LeBron, KD, all healthy in the playoffs against OKC.
No. Hell no, dude. You kidding me?
They're getting swept, bro.
No, dude. Like, that's the most, like, dude, talk about the unction, dude. Man. That, like, I mean, it would be. Like,
what if they
where do you think they would go?
They would go to the Warriors.
They would all team up with the Warriors?
Yeah, KD would go back to the Warriors. And then I don't think LeBron fucking gives a fuck at this point.
I like the idea of them all going to a shit team. Like, let's go team up and join the Jazz and bring one to Salt Lake.
The thing about them is, like, bro, I think they're so locked into their like their outside world, like their outside businesses and shit, that they would never go to like a small market team.
Dude, how funny would that be, though, dude? Or dude, they stay in the league long enough for the expansion and they go and join the Sonics and and like just get the expansion off to a horrible start. They're like 43.
That would be crazy if KD won a chip for like the Sonics to end his career.
Yeah,
like his
I mean that would be cool.
His LeBron thing, dude.
I'm coming back. Yeah, Seattle, this is for you. He's got like a gray beard. He's all Dumbledored out. He's like 60.
Oh my god, dude.
Oh man, that would be fire. Let's make that happen, Adam Silver. Yeah. Come on. I guess Roller, did you have anything else you want to touch on? I have one more question to piggyback off of this fucking nonsense. So do you think, considering what we just talked about, do you think that, because I can't think of another guy, well, maybe I can think of a couple, but with the way that he's been playing this season, would you consider Kawhi like the last of a dying breed? Because I don't think anybody in his like bracket is playing at his level right now. Like maybe Jimmy if he was healthy, or
and what's the breed?
Like like the breed would be like the LeBrons and the Currys and the KDs, like all the guys that have a chip from that like, generation of basketball players. Like I really can't, because DeMar's like rotting in Sacramento. Mm-hmm. Who else do we got? Like I don't know, dude. Like Paul George is taking fucking who knows what and getting suspended. Yeah, getting suspended for 25 games. We don't talk about him. I think who else is there, dude?
That's it, dude. That's it. He is the last.
Wait, well, let me look at the teams real quick.
Speaking of dying breed, bro, what's up with John Morant? Where's he been?
Oh man, dude, he's just like.
I was talking about quick
pointing his finger guns at people.
Yeah, I was talking about quick twitchy players, and I was like, the only person I feel like real talk that I feel like is at the level of Darius Garland in the sense of like shifty, quick point guards is John Morant. But then I was like,
well, it's a different sort of twitchy. Like John Morant's more of an explosive. Like I would say that like Darius Garland's more like kind of like Tyrese Maxey like level of like twitchy where they play below the rim. But no, to your point, like I mean, actually, I think I just got an alert that said that John Morant is out for the season. He was just declared out for the season after receiving an injection for his injured left elbow. I mean, like, but another thing with that is like, I already thought he was out for the season.
What?
Like that's how
they injecting that in his fucking arm.
Yeah, dude, they injected him with the Wolverine shit. What the hell is that? Adamantium? Jesus. Dude, yeah, they injected that into his arm. No, I think like, I mean, like that headline to me, what's more telling about that headline is the fact that like I already thought that he was out for the season. Like that's how little of an impact he's had, in my opinion, on this season. Like I couldn't tell you how many games that Jaws played. Like he's like, I don't know, he's like a non-factor now. And I've talked about it in the past. Like, go ahead.
Would you say that like whole gun situation ended his career?
I think so, dude. Like
That's
I think
crazy,
that
dude.
he was, and I've said it before, but I think John Morant was poised to be the face of the league. I mean, the buzz around John Morant in his first couple of
Hmm.
seasons was so big. Like he
Yeah.
was, people were talking about him in the way that they were talking about Derrick Rose, like when he
Hmm.
first came into the
Oh, you're
league.
right.
And the Grizzlies were really good, and they were really a really hard team to beat. There was a budding rivalry with John Morant's Grizzlies and the Golden State Warriors, and like there was this thing, and then he goes and gets suspended, and people start to forget about him. Then he gets injured, and then Ant Man hits the scene, and Ant Man is
Hmm.
everything that John Morant couldn't be. They play the same way, but Ant Man actually like Anthony Edwards wants to be the face of the league.
Right.
Like Anthony Edwards wants to be a steward of the game. He loves the attention and he loves like the challenge. And seemed like John Morant seemed like a guy that had Ant Man's talent, but LaMelo Ball's brain. And like, I think that like
Dude, none of
that
the
is
LaMelo
why
balls
he's
that
where he's
dumb,
at.
bro.
No, no, for sure. But what I mean is like a dude that like kind of couldn't care less, as of right now. Like LaMelo Ball is supremely talented, but like the dude couldn't care less from what I can see.
Hmm.
And so like it's just the sad situation is yes, like to answer your question, Rolla, like John Morant's time has probably come and gone. Like he'll still be in the league
Damn.
for a while, but he'll never reach the heights that he was at, I don't think.
Hmm. That's crazy. It's kind of sad.
Yeah. It is sad. And it just shows you that like the young guys that are really taking over this league, like Shea and Cade and Anthony Edwards and Victor Wembanyama, like these guys are guys that actually give a fuck about winning. And like these guys actually care about like, okay, I'm responsible for ushering in the next generation of players. I'm gonna lead. I'm gonna show that like the young guys really do run shit now. And like that's what it takes. That's been the difference maker, and that's what's kind of pushed the old heads away is like these younger guys, not only are they supremely talented, but they want to be the faces of the league and they want to be
Right.
champions. And like John Moran is just not that to me.
Bro, John Morant is 26 years old.
I know, it's wild, dude.
Bro, that's crazy.
It's wild. He's
Dude, it
just not.
almost
Yeah.
feels like he had a whole career and like this is the tail end. Like, dude, how is he? I don't know. Like, I feel like he hasn't had a season where he was that guy since like that, like Golden State, that season where they played Golden State in the playoffs.
Well, it just shows you have to take your moment and use it
Hmm.
and take advantage of it, man. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, look at
that's
Jeremy Lin,
crazy.
man. Like Jeremy Lin had that one season and he lived up to the hype, and then it all
Linsanity.
went away. At the very least, like Jeremy Lin took an opportunity that he was presented with, and he used up every last drop of it. And like, he's will be immortalized in like fun season history and NBA history. And like John Morant just didn't care enough. And like
Hmm.
to go back to it, I think to close this out, I think that that's what's so important about, and I think that's what draws fans to the younger guys in this league, like Shea and like Cade and like Wemby and like Anthony Edwards, like that really care and like really understand what responsibilities they have. I mean, and Shea has arguably one of the best individual seasons in NBA history to show for it. You
Hmm.
know, like you
Yeah.
can do great things if you care, right? And so
Right.
that's been, I think, to circle back, I think that's been what the biggest demise for the old heads has been, is just the younger guys understanding a lot earlier than
Right.
maybe they should have, understanding a lot earlier that they can do whatever they set their mind to if they really want to be that guy.
Right.
And yeah, so it is a younger man's league, and Rolla, you say it, time and time again, but that's the league that we're seeing.
Yep.
It's a league that is run now by the guys under the age of 30.
Hmm.
So, Rolla, did you have any closing statements you wanted to touch on before we get on out of here?
Yeah, you mentioned the last of a dying breed. I just realized James Harden is still in the league.
That's very true. That's very, very true. Yeah, I'll say that James Harden and Kawhi Leonard are last of a dying
Yeah.
breed.
Yeah.
And props to James, man. Like he's found a way to completely restructure his game to make it so that he lasts longer, in this league. And
Yeah.
Props to him. And I think Kawhi's done that too. Aside from the injuries, like Kawhi's found a way to polish his game even more, to be able to like hang with the young guys. And, so that's what you got to do. Well, guys, it's been a very fun episode. That was a good segment of what's going on. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. As Rolla said up top, you can watch us on YouTube. You can listen to us on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Deezer, and Spotify. Get at us on Instagram and on Twitter at Clip Service Pod. Guys, we'll probably I would say, how many games do we have left? Let me check real quick. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we'll probably only have 1 or 2 more episodes, guys, before we start talking postseason. Hopefully the Clippers can get their way into the postseason by winning a play-in game. But coming down to the wire, guys. Thanks for tuning in. And it ain't no lip service. This has been the Clip Service. Rolla, tell the people what they got to hear.
Let's go Clips.